I'm in the book of Joshua this morning. Joshua chapter 1. And allow me to read the first 9 verses. Now it came about after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, that the Lord spoke to Joshua the son of Nun, Moses' servant, saying, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise, cross this Jordan, you and all this people, to the land which I am giving them to the sons of Israel. Every place on which the sole of your foot treads, I have given to you, just as I spoke to Moses. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, even as far as the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites and as far as the great sea toward the setting of the sun, will be your territory. No man will be able to stand before you all the days of your life. Just as I have been with Moses, I will be with you. I will not fail you or forsake you. Be strong and courageous, for you shall give this people possession of the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous. Be careful to do accordingly to all the law which Moses, my servant, commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right, or to the left, so that you may have success wherever you go. This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have success. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not tremble or be dismayed. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. That is the word of the Lord, an encouragement to Joshua, the follower, the one that is followed now because Moses is no more. Now, most of us know maybe who Joshua is. I hope you also have I have this manner, I always want to know. I have a book actually at home which has got all the names that are named in the Bible. And some is just one sentence, and some is a whole paragraph. Like Moses would be a whole paragraph. Joshua would be a whole paragraph. And some would just say he would be the son of so-and-so. There's not much history attached to him. So many times I would go to that book and it make me acquainted with many of the names that are in the Bible. And so it's what we call a stokperdjie in English, a hobby, all right? It's like a hobby of mine to fill my mind to see all these men and women, as I say, all the names that is mentioned in the Bible. And so it is great to see that men has got history in the Bible. Now, many of us would know that Joshua is the one that took over from Moses. And one would say that if we read in Numbers 14 and verse 6, we see that Joshua was one of the 2 spies, one of the 12 spies that went to spy out the land of Canaan. It was him, Joshua, and it was Caleb. And the 2 of them came, everybody came back and they spoke that the land is filled with, it's a good land, it's a land of milk and honey. But 10 of them came with a negative report and said the words that in the Bible is, these guys are so big, we were like grasshoppers in their eyes, or we felt like grasshoppers in their eyes. And Moses and Aaron then fell on their faces because the people did not have the motivation to take the land which God has promised them. And it is at this time in Numbers 14:6 where it says, and Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, who were among those who had spied out the land, tore their clothes because they were dismayed. They said, look, if God is for us, who can be against us? It is because of God's guidance and that we are here at this moment. And what happened even with us until this moment in time? God was the caretaker. Yet the people feared them. Would God then send them into a disaster? God promised Abraham, as we read here, where your souls has walked, that is your land. I have promised it. Yet we had people that was not willing to commit themselves. And it's almost as this whole, even Brother Theo, when he spoke up here this morning, and what Brother Gerard also encouraged us with, there are those that cannot see the bigger picture. And I pray the Lord, it is not the case with us, that we cannot see that. So they tore their clothes because they saw the faithlessness of the people. Gone and forgotten how God opened up the Red Sea for them. How God gave them bread. How God gave them water from rocks. This was all testimony of God, yet they feared to go into the promised land. So Joshua's service to God, however, started very long ago. Exodus 24 and verses 13 we read, so Moses rose up with his assistant Joshua, and Moses went up to the mountain of God. So when God called up Moses to the mountain Sinai, who did he take along? Took along Joshua. And the name of Joshua has got this connotation that is almost like Jesus saves. Well, Jesus came to save. Now his name has also got so a connotation that he is like a savior. As leader of this people, he is not taking him to disaster. He's taking them into a promised land which God promised them. We also read in Exodus 32 and 17, when Joshua heard the noise of the people as they shouted, he said to Moses, there is a noise of war in the camp. Now, this is just to show how close Joshua were to Moses. Moses was Joshua's role model. He looked up to Moses. So it said when God called up Moses to the mountain, he said, Joshua, come along. It's good for those that are giving leadership, to give leadership so that the young ones can also see in them it is good to be a servant of the Lord. It would be very dreary if those that are in leadership position are the most, how can I say, mournful people. They got no spirit within them. They are spiritually dead. But who would lead? How can people like that be leaders? Speakers lead and leaders speak. They motivate you. They encourage you. They pour out wisdom to you. And that is what Moses did towards Joshua. Well, Joshua saw this character of Moses, and it influenced him to walk in the shadow of Moses. But the first time when Joshua's name was mentioned was in Exodus 17 and verses 9, when Moses gave him charge and say, choose for us men and go out and fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on top of the hill with the staff of God in my hand. And we remember that when Joshua, we can see he was also a soldier, he was a commander, he was a leader. Everything of Moses rubbed off onto Joshua. But he was a fighter for the sake of Christ, or for the name of Christ. And we remember when, as the history there is, Moses lifted up his hand with the staff of God, and as soon as he dropped his hand because he's tired, then Amalek would prevail, and Israel would be on the retreat. But then there was Aaron, his brother, and Hur that lifted up his hands, and then it is again Israel that is on the winning side. So we notice that Joshua was no little known man. He was already acquainted and dependable because he took his cue from Moses, the man of God. So let us learn about more of Joshua. The first thing we learn about Joshua is he saw the Lord in his youth. And as Brother Gerard was talking here a moment ago, encouraging the youth, I was thinking there is the same that I'm also going to speak about this morning. It says in Exodus chapter 33 and verses 11 that thus the Lord used to speak to Moses face to face as a man speaks to his friend. When Moses turned again into the camp, his assistant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, would not depart from the tent. Now the tent was erected there amongst the people, and Moses used to go in there to communicate with God. But who would be there? Joshua would be standing outside, almost like a security guard. But he wanted to be near, and it says that he was a young man. And so that is a message and an encouragement. As our brother said, the person said, I'm too young for that. Well, I also had that saying when people would encourage me and say, would you not like to become a child of God? Would you not be baptized? I always felt, I'm too young. There's still so much to live for. Thank you, heavens, or thank God that I had the opportunity. But when I look back, I almost want to say it would have been better if I have made the choice earlier. Because then I was a young man for the Lord. Not that I was, but I was then a mature man already for the Lord. But it would have been so much better if I could have had that attachment, a young man for the Lord. You see, he was a young man. And remember Ecclesiastes 12 and verses 1 says, remember also your Creator in the days of your youth, before the evil days come and the years draw near, of which you will say, I have no pleasure in them. Now this is Solomon penning these words. Remember your Creator the days of your youth. Now we remember that even Solomon, David had many firstborns. He had, I think, 4 or 5 wives. So it was even an argument when the one took the crown for himself. And Bathsheba had to go to David and says, no, you promised me that this son, because this son, Solomon, maybe he looked at his father David as a role model. I also want to wear that crown one day. So he walked with his father, where the others was more busy with their activities. And therefore his mother came and said, David, this is the follower, not those that is usurping power now. And he remembers this. Young Solomon, remember your Creator in the days of your youth. He saw the value of that because in his old age, he was not so valued. Even Jesus, when he was born, every year they had to go to the temple. Luke 2:49 says, why were you looking for me? Did you not know that I must be in my Father's house? Jesus went to the temple 3 times, a Jewish male, 3 major feasts they had to attend a year. And from small, he was taken. But when he went, he didn't go play marbles like the other children. He went into the temple and he spoke to the learned men in the temple. And it said they were amazed at his knowledge. And he was 12 years old. How many 12-year-olds here this morning will be able to talk about Jesus? Talk about Samson, talk about David, talk about Joseph even, talk about Noah. Yes, I remember I was there one day, I came there to Sister Clara's house, and there was a boy about 6 years old. He just went to school, and said it was the first time that he went to Sunday school also. And he told me, I've been in Sunday school. And I said, oh, that is good. What did you learn in Sunday school? And then he could relate to me what they've learned in Sunday school, about the man that built a boat. And so, it can. You are not too young. You know, in this time, I do not want to make people scared and so on. But just remember, watch the news. 49 years old, Johnny Davids. Man that was, I don't know him personally, but if you'd asked me, do you know Johnny David? I would have said, yes, he's a commentator on the radio, he's a sportsman and so. And now I learned he was so much more. He was a singer, he was a book writer, he did so much. But I'm sure he was looking out for the next World Cup of the rugby. But he was not a player anymore. But at 49 years old, 49, that's young too for me. Uncle Mark, that's young. We were still blossoming in that age. We had so much plans up ahead. He's no more. My brother-in-law came home from work. Remember, you work for yourself, you work long hours. 9 o'clock he came home the Thursday night before Good Friday. Tell his wife, my sister, I'm very tired. I'm going to sleep, go to bed early. And they left for to the bathroom. And then they heard something in the bathroom. They went to check. And there he was laying. And luckily his youngest son, sister's youngest son also, he was there to help her to carry him to the bedroom. And there they struggled to survive. What you call this artificial respiration. CPR. Waiting for the ambulance. When the ambulance turned up, he was no more. 61. He was still young in my eyes. But that is, we are not guaranteed how long. We do not know when our number will be drawn. And so here Joshua made sure that in his youth he had a good role model in Moses. And Jesus and Solomon had a good role model in his father David. And Jesus was busy with his father's work. 2 is in his zeal, Joshua made a mistake in discernment. it says here that Moses, I'm not going to read now, it's Numbers 11, verse 24 to 30. Moses called the 70 elders together. And then the Spirit of the Lord came about the 70. But that's how I make it out. And they prophesied, and then somebody came and said, wow, Moses, there's two guys prophesying. What is their name? I didn't write their name. Let me just see if their names are Eldad and Medad. Oh, I got it here. Eldad and Medad is prophesying in the camp. Remember, you've got the tent, and they are all now, Moses with the 70s at the tent. The tent is a place of holiness, and they're prophesying there. But there's some young man coming along, in the camp, two guys are prophesying. And so Joshua stood up and he says, Moses, you got to stop them. And then Moses said, are you jealous for my sake? Would that all the Lord's people were prophets, that the Lord would put his Spirit on them. So Moses felt, wow, it's good to be at the tent and prophesy, but how much better is it if you're in the camp amongst the people and you are prophesying? So I don't know if there were 68 of them here by the tent, and the two that had to be here, the Spirit fell on them while they were still there in the camp amongst the people. Or was it two extra? Make it 72. I'm trying to figure that out. But Moses was not annoyed, but young Joshua fool. Hey, it's almost like the sons of Zebedee. God, Jesus should be bring fire from heaven to zap these Samaritans that don't want you to walk past their houses. Jesus, no. You see, so in his youth, he also made a mistake. Now, John the Apostle also, in Mark 9 and 38, it says, Teacher, we saw someone casting out demons in your name, and we tried to stop him because he was not following us. But Jesus said, do not stop him, for no one who does a mighty work in my name will be able soon afterwards to speak evil of me. So John felt only those following Jesus close by as the only ones that had to drive out devils. And so he come and said, Lord, look, there's a guy here that's casting out demons in your name. And Jesus said, that's fine, as long as it's my name. As long as he don't pop up his own name. Jesus said, it's good. Who's not against us is for us. So we can see we must be careful that our zeal is tempered with patience, knowledge, and love. And then the third thing about Joshua, he expressed great faith in God. And as we say that in Numbers 14, when the whole people were against them in not going to fight or to take the land, they stood up and they said, the God that prepared, that led us, will be with us. So let's go and take the land. So Joshua expressed great faith in God. In Matthew 17 and verses 20, Jesus said, because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if you have faith as a mustard seed, you shall say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it shall move, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. And so Jesus also encouraged us this morning, because we only need to demonstrate faith. Now, I always try to imagine how small is a mustard seed. I haven't seen one yet. Only mustard I know is that is in the tin, which I'm so I love it. How to put it on in a roll or something. Even here when we had the braai, I would take the mustard. But I don't think it's the same seeds. It comes from that seed. But it says here that if we have faith, a small or a grain of mustard seed, we will be able to accomplish much. And nothing is impossible. And that is an encouragement to each one of, no matter what your trial, your problem, your perseverance, your hurdle that you must cross, nothing is impossible with God. If we come to God in faith, He will deliver. And so we have this encouragement this morning. Due to Joshua's faith and service, God used Joshua to accomplish a great work. In Deuteronomy 31 and verse 7, then Moses summoned Joshua and said to him in the sight of all Israel, be strong and courageous, for you shall go with this people into the land that the Lord has sworn to their fathers to give them, and you shall put them in possession of it. Now we've read Joshua chapter 1 verses 1 to 9. 3 times there it is said, be strong and courageous. And even here in Deuteronomy 31 and verses 7, Moses encourages Joshua, be strong and be courageous, for you shall take this people into this country, this land, and you shall possess it. For God said, nothing is impossible. When we dedicate our life to God, He will use us to perform great things for Him as well. In Luke 21 and 19, verses 19, Jesus tells these words, in your endurance, you will gain your souls. And why did Jesus say this? The disciples were so impressed with the temple. And then Jesus laid out, there will be no stone left upon one or the other. But let me tell you what would be the time of the end. And then Jesus lay out there a very non-motivating, I would put it. I try to get now an English word. Jesus is telling them, don't look forward to it. You will hear of wars. You will hear of famine. You will hear of lots of things. And now people hear of wars and they think it's the end of the world. That's not what Jesus meant. But He says, in your endurance, as you continue walking and testifying for me, you will win your soul, or you will gain your soul. You will have your soul until the end. It is a lifelong service. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it. But whosoever shall lose his life for my sake and the gospel's, the same shall save it, in Mark 8 and verses 35. Romans 12 and verses 1 and 2 say, I appeal to you therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. So in Romans chapter 12, the Apostle Paul says, we are this vessel, a vessel to the honor of God Almighty, not a vessel for the world, because then we will perish with the world. So in conclusion, let us remember these lessons from the life of Joshua. He sought God in his youth. He was zealous, but he made a mistake. He expressed great faith in God. God used Joshua to accomplish a great work. He took them over the Jordan River. He divided up the land among the 12 tribes. And he died a rich age. If we give ourselves to God as did Joshua, then God will work mightily in our lives as well. And so the invitation is this morning, do you want to be a Joshua? Jesus seeks those that want to walk with him. Revelation 3:20 says, I stand at the door and I knock. He that hears my voice and opens, I will go in and dine. Jesus is knocking at your heart's door this morning. Be a Joshua. We will sing a closing hymn. And I pray the Lord that we would really consider that our life is but only a vapor on this earth. We is young, but death comes to all. As we came this morning, we saw a wreck at the robot there by the engine garage, by the corner of the robot there by that olive town is. But look at that motor car. That driver is no more. Because everything is on his side. Who knows where he went to? Maybe it was his family. Maybe he went to his family. But the wreck tells a story. And so, are you prepared to meet your God? I pray.